So, welcome back. As we can see, the glue has gone off. What there is actually that you can see now is there is slight indentations now, but most of it's been filled up and it's gone off nice and hard. What I've done off camera up here is basically give it a liberal coat, little tiny bit of super glue, just normal either nail glue or super glue, and what that does is just secures any little chips that were left and fills in any other holes. Now the difference is, because you're using quite a lot, you're going to have to leave this to dry for quite a long time, but after that, any imperfections or any high spots on that stuff, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to level the fretboard as best you can without any luthier tools. So I'm going to go ahead and just basically show you what I've done. I'm just using nail glue because it was free, it came off my partner. So I'll try and do this one-handed. Here we go. Don't have to be massively neat at this point, but all I'm trying to do is just fill in any voids as best you can. It's not too bad because stuff will flow into the hole. Like I said, it is going to take a while to set because I am using quite a lot. And they hear my partner shouting at the little one in there. As you can see, it's getting close to bedtime. Okay, so we're getting to the end of that now. Hope I don't run out of glue, because that means I'm going to have to get more, and that's bad. And you know what? I've just run out. But anyway, that does the principle. Shows you the principle, basically what we're going to do. Like I said, next time I'm going to log on once it's all dry. On the next video I shall attempt to show you how to level the fretboard properly without taking any chunks out. Okay, so see you then. Okay, so welcome back again. So as you can see, the super glue that we put in before has gone off. Looks a little bit messy at the moment, but don't worry about that. Okay. Now there's some lumps and some bumps, and basically, you know, all the voids are just about filled. There's a couple here and here and here that haven't actually taken very well, but that's not a big issue. We'll go over that and fill it again. But what I want to actually do in this video is, you might see that I have given it a small rub already, just to take some of it away, just because I wanted you to be able to see a little bit better, because it wasn't showing up too well before, so I've given it a quick rub over. Every neck is slightly different, has a different contour to it, and the radius is either bigger or smaller. I think this is probably roughly about a 14, but I'm not too sure on that, and that's just from the way I can feel it. You know, you can get a rough idea of your contour of your neck if you, when it's off the guitar, if you hold it like that. And as you can see, the nut's straight at the end, but it has a radius, has a curve to it. Now, I'd like to mention at this point, I know that this neck is straight. It's brand new. The guitar played very well. Well, very well from the factory anyway, at least for an average budget guitar, but it played pretty well, to be fair. So just, if you're going to do this, make sure that your truss rod's up here, by the way, or down here, depending on what type of model you've got. Just make sure that's nice and straight. You know, don't be trying to do any of this work and stuff like that, because Fretless is it just doesn't take any prisoners. We're going to do some work on the nut later on. Basically what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take these down a little bit further, because now we haven't got a fret for it to pass over. Okay, so we can get away with it being a little bit lower. So what I'm going to do there is show you a nice little neat trick on how we're going to do that. But what I want to do first, really, because I was getting off topic there, is show you a way of basically taking all the rough edges out as much as you can without the use of a radius block, which they cost quite a bit of money. To be fair, there is a way of doing it. It's a little bit slow and tedious, so probably best if you get bored easy to sit in front of the TV with a blanket over you and do it that way, and lots of hot beverages to help. Right, so this is going to be difficult to actually show you, but what I'm going to use, I'm going to start, because some of this is quite aggressive and some of the lumps and bumps are quite big, I'm going to start with quite a high grade sandpaper and then work my way up, basically, all the way up to probably wet and drying it as well. Don't worry too much about the fact that all these are dark and everything like that. We're going to cover basically what we can do, the different options that we can do to get this all uniform and everything like that, get it all nice and shiny again. Some people like it, you might like it a bit rough. I don't, because this one, and this one, they went a little bit dodgy. It sucked in a little bit more than I wanted it to. So, right, what I'm going to do now is, you want to rip yourself, I'd say about 2 inches strip, like that, across, right, no more, because if you start doing any more then you can't really control it very well. So you want about a 2-inch strip of this sandpaper. So I'm going to do that now, bear with me. So I've got my 2-inch strip now, you can see roughly about 2 inches. This is going to be quite difficult here, because I can't really explain it to you and hold the camera at the same time. The idea is, if you were to sand like this, any woodworker or carpenter will tell you, never use your fingers as a backing, never. And the reason for that is, if you work your way up and down the board like this, although it will be easier, you're actually wearing grooves into the fretboard. Now I know when you put your strings on here, because there's no frets, the strings are going to do that, and your finger movements are going to do that over time anyway. But you don't really be wanting to do that now. You want it to be nice and perfect, or as good as you possibly can be for this budget build that we're doing here. So what you need to actually do is put your own tension in it, and you need to hold both sides. Just your finger and your thumb one side, finger and your thumb the other side, and you need to hold it tight and pull it down, so you're almost following the contour of your neck, and work your way in long strokes, up and down, up and down. It sounds laborious and it sounds tedious, and believe me, it is. But basically what you're doing then is, if you keep tension on both sides and you keep pulling it down at the edges, as you're pulling it, this will stay in the middle as best you possibly can. This side will be riding on this side will be running on that side. Try and hold it as close to the fretboard as you can, on both sides, even pressure. If you're working without a jig or you're working without a vise, try and stick the butt, so you can see my 10-week-old puppy there. Hello, Fletcher. Right, try and stick it into your gut as best you can. You can put it in a vise, but the amount of material that you're taking off, if it's like that, you're gonna take too much off, really. So I just prefer to do it like this, really. Even when I'm doing normal fretboards or refrets or anything, I like it to be so it's not going to move. It's up against my stomach, on my groin area. It's pushing. It's strong enough. If I go any stronger, I know that I'm going to do some damage. So anyway, start with a higher grade sandpaper. Hold it tight. Long strokes. Up and down. Up and down. Almost wax on, wax off. You've seen the film. Always go with the grain. As you can see, your grain's running that way. otherwise you're going to get nasty ugly scratches, and basically when you come to stain it or when you come to oil it, you're going to see those no matter what you do. Some people like to do it like this. Not good, not good at all. From there to there, all the way down, you really want even strokes all the way up, because you're taking the same amount of material, the same amount of pressure off all the way down the fretboard. Okay, so you're going to work yourself up from 100. That's going to take most of the nasty burrs, the nasty edges, nasty anything. What you'll find is, if you've got a few of these, 1, 2, I've got about 5 here, and what that is, those white signs are basically dips in your filling with your super glue. Once you've sanded this off for a couple of coats, go back in, put another couple of little blobs in there, which I'm going to do, let it go off and let it dry, and then go over it again, and what you'll see is that'll disappear. All that is a hole where some of the dust from previous sanding has gone in. It's actually a good indicator. Yeah, so work your way up, get yourself up to higher and higher and higher grit until you're happy with it, really. Don't go too hard at it. You know, you don't want to take everything off it. All you want to do is make it so it's nice and uniform and smooth. And that's it, basically, you know. So up and down, sorry I can't show you because I'm holding it at the same time. But I hope you know what I mean. You know, basically you're doing this with the sandpaper, following the radius, up and down. Okay, so in the next video, what I'm going to show you what I've managed to come up with, how smooth I've managed to get it. And we might do a tiny bit of wet and drying. I don't agree with doing an awful lot, because when you put water on here, you don't want your board absorbing it and anything like that, so we're just going to go a little bit easy, but a bit of wet and dry will take some of the heavier scratches and some of the marks off that you have put on, and then we're going to try and see about coating this before we start the nut, and then it's basically assembly time and see whether everything works properly. I shouldn't see why not. The neck's nice and true and nice and straight. I should so mention, really, mine's not to hand, it's in the shed at the moment, but if you take your machine heads off, okay, and you sit and you want to, if you're unsure whether your neck is straight, you put it this should be level, and by the time these are off and that is sat on the deck, that should be straight as well, and you can just look under the gap, give you an idea. Lay it like that, get yourself a metal straight edge, like a metal ruler, like an art ruler. You know, if your kid's got one, fine. If your missus has got one, my missus does a lot of crafting, so she has things like that, so that's what I use lying around. And you can just lay it on, and then basically you can have a look. You can just see exactly if it's bowed or it's warped, so you need to adjust the truss rod. Remember, if you tighten it, it will bring it up. Okay, loosen it, bring it down. Anyway, so sorry, I just got that wrong, didn't I? Tighten it, it goes this way. Aha, because it fights your string tension, because your string wants to pull it up. And if you basically tighten it, it goes herk, and it counteracts the string tension. That's what you get. Okay, so anyway, sorry about that. Take 3. Anyway, so I shall be cracking on with this off camera, and the next time I go on we shall be basically maybe doing a little tiny bit of wet sanding, or if I can actually get it smooth enough I might not actually bother. We might just actually cover how to treat this fretboard, see if we can get it a little bit better than it actually is. Okay, so catch you soon.